Have you ever stepped onto a theme park ride and thought, wait, did I just walk into the actual movie? That is exactly what happens when you join the Resistance at Star Wars Galaxy Edge in Disneyland. One minute, you're in a theme park. The next, you're being marched past rows of stormtroopers, interrogated by the First Order, and rescued in a chaotic escape that feels way too real. In this video, you'll walk through that whole journey, from the dusty streets of the outpost on Batuu, to the blue and green milk, to one of the most ambitious attractions Disney has ever built, Star Wars: Rise of the Resistance. You start in the bright California sun, but the second you cross into Galaxy's Edge, the park falls away and you're in Black Spire Outpost, a trading village on the remote planet Batuu. Weathered walls, hanging tarps, jury-rigged cables and vents, everything looks like it has survived decades of blaster fire and quick repairs, not fresh paint and modern construction. Crowds don't feel like tourists here. They read as travelers, smugglers, resistance sympathizers, and the occasional First Order patrol cutting through the market. Vendors shout, droids beep in the distance, and even the Coke bottles look like they came from a Jawa swap meet with Arabic writing instead of English. Tucked against the rocky cliffs is a hidden resistance base marked by camouflaged equipment, crates, and a transport shelter waiting on the pad. From the outside, it looks just like another queue, but story-wise, this is where you volunteer, or maybe get gently talked into, helping the resistance. Inside the caves, screens, crates, and flickering consoles make it clear that this isn't some well-funded military. It feels improvised, hidden, and a bit desperate. You get briefed that you're being evacuated off Batuu on a transport to meet General Organa's forces, escorted by Resistance ace Poe Dameron in his Black X-Wing. The first twist is that the pre-show is a ride. You board a standing room transport ship, feel it lift off, and watch the planet fall away through wraparound windows as Poe flies cover outside. Then, everything goes wrong. TIE fighters attack, the ship shudders, and when the doors open, you're not back where you started, you're inside a Star Destroyer hangar. The hangar is the wow moment. Dozens of stormtroopers stand at attention facing incoming prisoners, with a huge bay window showing space outside and First Order officers watching from above. Cast members drop the usual Disney friendliness and switch to in-character First Order attitude, barking orders and directing you towards cell blocks instead of ride vehicles. You're herded into a holding cell with stark lighting and glowing panels on a balcony overhead. A First Order officer appears, soon joined by hologram-like presence of Kylo Ren, ready to rip the location of the Resistance base from your mind.
And now you will pay. The Resistance prisoners.
You have what I want. You know the location of the secret base, and I will take it from you.
We'll be on the bridge.
Keep the prisoners here. I will return to finish this personally.
Just when it seems like the story is about to get bleaker, blaster fire erupts, part of the wall blows open, and Resistance fighters cut you loose, shoving you into trackless escape vehicles. From here, the attraction stops behaving like a single ride and turns into a chase movie. The vehicles dart between scenes instead of following a fixed rail, so it feels like each car is making tactical decisions as you dodge laser fire and AT-AT walkers. Elevators, motion bases, and projection effects stretch the Star Destroyer into multi-level chaos, with one moment racing past turbo laser cannons and the next dropping in an escape pod that physically launches back toward Batuu.
You will tell me the location of the secret base, and then I will destroy you and the Resistance.
After the escape pod sequence, doors open and you're suddenly back on the surface, with wreckage around you and Resistance crew celebrating that you survived. It's easy to forget you're still in Disneyland because the ride doesn't dump you into a generic exit shop. It spills you back into the same rough-edged landscape of Batuu where the mission started. Now the pacing slows down. You can stroll through the market, listen to distant starship engines, and look for the most Star Wars-y snack of all, blue and green milk. At the milk stand, the classic blue milk from Luke's farm on Tatooine has been reimagined as a plant-based frozen drink with rice and coconut milk, flavored with dragon fruit, pineapple, and other tropical notes. The greener version leans citrusy and floral instead. By the way, there's a strange little secret about what the original movie Blue Milk actually was versus what you're drinking here. Hold that thought, because it shows up in the fun facts at the end. Galaxy's Edge didn't just copy familiar movie sets. Disney built a new planet, Batuu, with its own history and appearance in novels and comics, then anchored it in the Star Wars timeline, around the conflict between the Resistance and the First Order. When the land opened at Disneyland in 2019, and later at Disney's Hollywood Studios, the idea was that everything, from the food to the music to how cast members talk to guests, would treat you as if you're part of that galaxy's everyday life, not a guest peeking behind the curtain. Rise of the Resistance sits at the center of that philosophy. Instead of one big drop or a single visual gag, the main thrill is being physically moved through a full-length Star Wars story. By the time you exit, you've been recruited, evacuated, captured, interrogated, rescued, and dropped back on the planet. And the line between "I went on a ride" and "I just lived a Star Wars mission" blurs in a way that keeps people talking long after they leave the park. So in one loop around Batuu, you go from anonymous park guest to full-fledged Resistance recruit, survive an encounter with the First Order, and celebrate with a glass of blue or green milk under alien suns. That combination of cinematic storytelling, physical sets, and tiny lived-in details is why Galaxy's Edge has become a must-visit, not just for Star Wars fans, but for anyone curious about where theme parks are heading. If you had the chance to visit, would you sign up with the Resistance, or quietly keep your head down and see if the First Order offers better health benefits? Now, as promised, let's jump into some of the fun facts from a galaxy far, far away. The 18-minute ride that isn't one. Rise of the Resistance is often described as an 18-minute experience because it strings together multiple systems, a trackless dark ride, a simulator-style drop, walkthrough scenes, and that standing room transport at the beginning. Behind the scenes, each piece is its own attraction-level machine, choreographed so the story never stops. From the caves on Batuu, to the hangar, to interrogation, and finally the crash landing back outside. Why you won't see Luke or Vader here. Galaxy's Edge is set in the era of the sequel trilogy, which is why you run into Kylo Ren and First Order troops instead of Darth Vader and classic stormtroopers. Disney chose that area so the land could tell fresh stories without being locked into recreating specific scenes from the original films, while still sprinkling in familiar ships like X-Wings and TIE Fighters. Blue Milk's secret ingredient. The original Blue Milk in A New Hope was actually long-life dairy milk with blue food coloring, while Galaxy's Edge uses a vegan base to keep it more refreshing on hot park days and accessible to more guests. Flavor-wise, most reviewers compare Blue Milk to a tropical smoothie, and green milk to something closer to a citrusy, floral frozen drink. So if one doesn't hit it for you, the other one might. Batuu exists outside the theme park. Batuu isn't just a theme park backdrop. It shows up in Star Wars novels, comics, and reference books, with characters like Dok-Ondar and Hondo Ohnaka crossing between printed stories and the land itself. That cross-pollination means when you walk through the Black Spire Outpost, you're technically visiting a canon Star Wars location, not just a movie-inspired set. Stormtroopers on patrol. The stormtroopers you see in the hangar around Batuu aren't just for photo ops. They run little improvised interactions, questioning guests about Resistance activity or commenting on your droid and outfit. These micro moments, layered on top of big, expensive show scenes, are part of why the land feels alive. Like the story keeps running whether you're in line for a ride or just sipping your milk in the shade. If this trip to Batuu scratched your Star Wars itch, there are plenty more stories where this came from. For more deep dives into the wildest rides, hidden park history, and strange little details Imagineers hide in plain sight, tap subscribe and ring the bell so you can catch the next jump to hyperspace as soon as it drops. Tell us in the comments whether you'd rather pilot the Millennium Falcon, sneak around with the Resistance, or try every weird drink on Batuu. And share this video with a friend who still quotes the movies on a daily basis. May the Force and a reasonably short standby line be with you.